Bhaktipartana Chintayan. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. Okay, so we should meditate on Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our mind should constantly be engaged in remembering Krishna, undeviated from the path of Krishna consciousness. Then one is sure to reach Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In this verse, Lord Krishna stresses the importance of remembering him. One's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. So in other words, one's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna. Yeah, because we were all originally with Krishna. But we, unfortunately, have forgotten our relationship with Krishna over many, many births and deaths. So our memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. This mystic meditation, meaning the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it's called a mystic meditation, is very easy to practice, and it helps one attain the Supreme Lord. Purusham means enjoyer. Although living entities belong to the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord, they are in material contamination. They think themselves enjoyers, but they are not the supreme enjoyer. Here it is clearly stated that the supreme enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, meaning Krishna, in his different manifestations and plenary expansions as Narayana, Vasudeva, etc. The devotee can constantly think of the object of worship, the Supreme Lord, in any of his features, as Narayana, Krishna, Rama, etc., by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This practice will purify him, and at the end of his life, due to his constant chanting, he will be transferred to the kingdom of God. Yoga practice is meditation on the super soul within. Similarly, by chanting Hare Krishna, one fixes his mind always on the Supreme Lord. The mind is fickle, and therefore it is necessary to engage the mind by force to think of Krishna. One example often given is that of the caterpillar that thinks of becoming a butterfly, and so is transformed into a butterfly in the same life. Similarly, if we constantly think of Krishna, it is certain that at the end of our lives, we will have the same bodily constitution as Krishna. Yeah. If you go back to Godhead, you get a body that looks exactly like Krishna's. And it's a spiritual body, it's not a material body. Any questions about this verse and purport? He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. Does anyone have a question about this verse or the purport?
So the same bodily constitution as Krishna.
You get a body that looks exactly like Krishna.
So he's in Goloka.
In the spiritual world, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But in the Goloka, all Krishna's friends don't look like him, though, right? in the Bhagavatam descriptions, none of his friends look like him. So what does this mean? We get the same bodily constitution.
Well, it means that you have an eternal body
Hmm.
that never deteriorates.
Okay.
Yeah. And you look something like Krishna also.
Hmm.
You look at the devotees that have made that have made the pictures of Krishna. This picture and the devotees that surround Krishna. Well, they look very close to Krishna, like Krishna.
I know that at least in Vaikuntha, everybody will have four-handed form.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
That was described.
but in the if you go back to Godhead, you will get a body like Krishna. Now, sometimes, depending on your attraction to Krishna, sometimes it's four armed, sometimes it's two armed. Like the gopis and the cowherd boys, they're all two armed because they have more intimate relationship with Krishna. And then the devotees that are liberated uh, in through devotional service, uh, they sometimes have four arms. Uh, so, well, the main point is, however, that
Well, is this what like Mayavadis interpret as like you become God?
no, because the four-arm forms of some, liberated souls who are devotees, uh, they don't consider themselves as being God, but they still consider themselves as being servants of God. So that's why it says here, the devotee can constantly think of the object of worship, the Supreme Lord, in any of his features. Narayana, well, Narayana has four arms. Krishna, two arms. Rama, two arms, etc. By chanting Hare Krishna. So this practice will purify him, and at the end of his life, due to his constant chanting, he will be transferred to the kingdom of God. So the devotee can constantly think of the object of worship, the Supreme Lord, in any of his features. So it depends on what you feel you are attracted to. It could be to Narayana or Krishna or Rama. But your attraction should be through chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This practice will purify him, and at the end of his life, due to his constant chanting, he'll be transferred to the kingdom of God. Yoga practice is meditation on the super soul within. Similarly, by chanting Hare Krishna, one fixes his mind always on the Supreme Lord. The mind is fickle, and therefore it is necessary to engage the mind by force to think of Krishna. One example often given is that of the caterpillar that thinks of becoming a butterfly, and so is transformed into a butterfly in the same life. Similarly, if we constantly think of Krishna, it is certain at the end of our lives we shall have the same bodily constitution as Krishna. Yeah, we get a body that looks very similar to Krishna, and is also transcendentally situated.
Yeah. It says here.
Therefore, if we constantly think of Krishna, well, that means we're always chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes.
Yeah, it's basically I just asked for clarification. Basically, it says that by completely absorbed in the through chanting, complete absorption of Krishna, at the time of death, we transcend the material realm, attaining a spiritual form similar in nature to Krishna's
There it is.
eternal, blissful, and knowledgeable spiritual body, Satchitananda uh, form. And then this doesn't necessarily mean becoming God, but rather attaining a spiritual existence in his divine abode with a spiritual body free from the limitations of material existence.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can have 4 arms,
Mhm.
and other times you may have 2 arms,
Mhm.
depending on what your attraction is to the Lord.
Mhm.
So that is called a sarupya vibration.
What is it called?
Sarupya.
Sarupya.
There are like
Attaining the
five
form.
types of
Yeah. Okay.
Samipya, Sayujya,
Sarup.
Okay.
Sarupya.
Okay. So in this verse, in the purport, it's very nice. First of all, the purport says, "He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me." See, that's why we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra at least 16 rounds a day, at least. But that's the minimum. You can chant, 100 rounds a day if you want. So, but minimum is 16 rounds. So that's why it says, "He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me." So this is called real meditation. Real meditation is not really meditating on the tip of your nose or meditating on I don't know, a dog. Meditating on Krishna is meditation, real meditation, because Krishna is eternal. The dog and the tip of your nose, those are not eternal. So, and now you can see how silly Mayavadis are, and how silly and so-called meditators are. They can be meditating on the tip of their nose, or they can be meditating on who knows what. But the real object of meditation is the transcendental body of Krishna. That should be the real focus of meditation. And the transcendental body of Krishna is very beautiful and full of transcendental opulences. And that will give us a genuine relationship with the Lord. You can't have a pretended relationship with the Lord. The genuine relationship is not only you're meditating on the form of the Lord, but you're also engaged in devotional service to please the senses of the Lord. The difference between a materialist and a devotee is the materialist is working to please his or her senses, and the devotee is working to please Krishna's senses. So when we stop trying to please our own senses, but we use our senses to please Krishna's senses, that's when we become a devotee. And that requires knowledge and practice, because everybody's born in ignorance. And then most of the educational system in the world today, or all of them, will keep you in ignorance. So to overcome that ignorance, we have to associate with genuine devotees, and we have to change our meditation. Instead of meditating on sense gratification, we have to meditate on the transcendental body of Krishna and engage in serving Krishna's serving Krishna. Then we gradually become fixed in devotional service. That's why it says here in this verse, Lord Krishna stresses the importance of remembering him. One's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna. Okay, so now that's the way we can we can remember Krishna all the time. It's by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. Yeah. As soon as you say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare. It engages your tongue and your ear and your mind. This mystic meditation, wow, it's an amazing way to explain what's going on here. This is a mystic meditation. It's very easy to practice and it helps one attain the Supreme Lord. Okay, so why does it say a mystic meditation? Well, because things are happening that are beyond our means of understanding. But gradually, by regular chanting, we begin to understand that Krishna is in our heart and he's the closest person to us. And he's hearing us chant Hare Krishna. So he begins to give us many blessings. And then we realize that Krishna is not some make-believe fantasy. He actually exists in our heart and is the source of knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So this regular chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, something happens that's very, let's say, mysterious and wonderful. What is it? Our memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna. Well, why is that? Well, because we were all originally with Krishna. But by misuse of our limited free will, we walked away from Krishna and forgot him. But we can rejuvenate our knowledge or remembrance of Krishna by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in the association of devotees. Therefore, it says, one's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. This mystic meditation is very easy to practice and it helps one attain the Supreme Lord. So can you look up the definition of mystic? It is not something mundane. It is supernatural. What does it say? What is the definition of mystic?
Mystic.
MYSTIC.
Spiritual mystery, awe, and fascination.
Okay, second definition.
A noun, a person who seeks by contemplation and self-surrender to obtain unity with or absorption into the deity or the absolute, or who believes in the spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect.
That's nice. That's a nice definition.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why it's called mystic, because it's beyond our intellect.
Mm.
Yeah. It's something we're able to do that uh, unless we're trained to do it, we would never be able to understand it. Right? So our memory, this is a very important point. Our memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna. That means, well, we're all originally with Krishna, but we have forgotten due to materialistic life. But our memory of Krishna can be revived by chanting the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. This mystic meditation is very easy to practice, and it helps one attain the Supreme Lord. Well, when it says this mystic meditation is very easy to practice, we don't really understand in the beginning how powerful the Maha Mantra is when it's chanted. I would just take it for granted, we'd say Hare Krishna. But actually, it is mystic meditation because in a mystic way, our original relationship with Krishna is revived. We were all originally with Krishna, and we forgot. So, but by simply chanting the Hare Krishna mantra with the help of genuine devotees, we revive this understanding of our relationship with Krishna. That's the mysticism right there. It revives something that we were actually doing previously, but we forgot it for many, many lifetimes. And now it is being rejuvenated again in our consciousness. In other words, our real identity is coming back into focus, that we're the eternal servants of Krishna. And the way to please Krishna is by constantly chanting his holy names. That's why it's a mystic meditation, because it helps us understand our original relationship with Krishna, something that is innate, but we forgot about it. So therefore, when we begin to remember what is our real constitutional position as the eternal servant of Krishna, and we act in that manner, it's something mystic. It's something that we would never have figured out on our own, but only because we come in contact with a pure devotee does this mystic meditation become a reality. This mystic meditation is very easy to practice, and it helps one attain the Supreme Lord. Purusha means enjoyer. Although living entities belong to the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord, they are in material contamination. They think themselves enjoyers, but they are not the Supreme Enjoyer. Here it is clearly stated that the Supreme Enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in its different manifestations and plenary expansions, as Narayana, Vasudeva, etc. The devotee can constantly think of the object of worship, the Supreme Lord, in any of his features, Narayana, Krishna, Rama, etc., by chanting Hare Krishna. This practice will purify him, and at the end of his life, due to his constant chanting, he will be transferred to the kingdom of God. Yoga practice is meditation on the super soul within. Similarly, by chanting Hare Krishna, one fixes his mind always on the Supreme Lord. The mind is fickle, and therefore it is necessary to engage the mind by force to think of Krishna. One example often given is that of the caterpillar and so forth. So this constant thinking of Krishna, similarly, if we constantly think of Krishna, it is certain that at the end of life, At the end of our lives, we shall have the same bodily constitution as Krishna. In other words, we get a spiritual body that looks very much like Krishna. In the spiritual world, all the liberated souls have spiritual bodies, and their bodies look something like Krishna. Just imagine. Okay, but of course, Krishna has certain qualities that nobody else has. Although we may have many of the qualities, up to 78% of Krishna qualities, but never 100%. So Krishna will always have certain qualities that we can never emulate. But 78% means you look very much like Krishna, right? But there's always going to be some things that we don't have that Krishna has. That means that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so are there any questions about this? So the real meditation is constantly thinking of Krishna. How can you do that? You chant Hare Krishna. It should be in our minds, physically and mentally, every day. We should be chanting every day, at least minimum 16 rounds, but even more than that if we want to. If you look at Haridas Thakur, he was chanting 23 and a half hours a day.
Yeah.
You only had a half an hour to bathe and maybe eat something. Sometimes he would not even eat. So, yeah, one time, what was it? One devotee told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I don't have enough time to chant my rounds because I'm so busy in devotional service. And Prabhupada said, are you eating? He said, yes. Then you have time. In other words, he's taking time out to eat, right? So it's not that, he's so busy that he can't chant Hare Krishna. But he does take time out to eat. So Prabhupada said, if you are not eating, then you might have an argument. But you are eating, so therefore that means you have time also to chant Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada's very sharp. You can't cheat him. He's a Calcutta boy. And he knows. He can tell when someone is cheating. Okay, well, I think we'll stop right there. Our takeaway is, if we constantly think of Krishna, it is certain that at the end of our lives, we shall have the same bodily constitution as Krishna. That means an eternal spiritual body that looks somewhat like Krishna. So that should be our goal. Always chanting Hare Krishna and remembering the Lord. And then being transferred to the spiritual world, where we can constantly think of Krishna. And we will have a bodily constitution that is very similar to that of Krishna's. Okay, so I think we'll stop right there. Are there any questions, comments, or whatever?
No questions.
Huh?
No questions.
No questions. Okay, so then we will stop there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari. We stop the questions, but we don't stop chanting Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Bol.
Prabhupada says, memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra. That means we all were with Krishna originally, but due to our sense gratification and walking away from Krishna, we forgot. But our memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra. And this was, if you look at the third chapter, 11th verse, November 17, 1970, in a letter to Stan from Srila Prabhupada. So the letter books are right behind you.
Yes, Maharaj.
Those are letter books, right?
Yes.
November 17, 1970. Can you find that? November 17, 1970. November 17, 1970. And the letter to Stan, S-T-A-N. November 17, 1970.
1 second.
Take your time.
What 70?
November 17, 1970.
1 second.
November 17, 1970. The letter to Stan, S-T-A-N. Chapter 3, text 11.
Stan, S-T-A-N, Maharaj.
S-T-A-N, yes. Stan. November 17, 1970. Or chapters, what is it? 3, text 11.
Is it letter or lecture, Maharaj?
Letter,
Yes, Sriman Stan.
yes.
Okay.
What's it say?
November 17th, 1970. My dear Sriman Stan,
I like that, Sriman Stan. Yes.
please accept my blessings. I beg to thank you very much for your nice letter dated so and so. I am very pleased that you are in New Vrindavan for some time now and you are feeling the benefits of the transcendental atmosphere there. Actually, it is my dream to have such a perfect community established fully in Krishna consciousness so that the people of your country may have a right example what is the natural way of life or pure spiritual living. Your attitude of determination to progress in your transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and perfect your devotional service to Him is very praiseworthy. Ramananda Roy has explained that there is nothing so glorious of or worth of fame in this world for a person who knows the true value of life other than to be famed as a devotee of Krishna. We are all originally situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness in our eternal personal relationship of love of Krishna. But due to forgetfulness, we become familiar with the material world or Maya. As soon as one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with sincerity and without offense, you know there are 10 kinds of offenses to the holy name, which we are to avoid very, very carefully. As soon as one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with sincerity and without offense,
Sincerity, not sincere, sincerity.
sincerity and without offense, his original Krishna consciousness is immediately revived.
That means we were all originally Krishna conscious.
Yes.
But through many births and deaths, we've forgotten. But it can be revived again. Go ahead.
Krishna consciousness means to be always remembering Krishna in some way or the other. Just like we are immediately thinking of Krishna when we chant his name, Krishna, and we are always thinking how we can do something nice to please Krishna with some service or other.
Okay, so that explains how you can meditate on Krishna 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You always chant Hare Krishna.
And you're always thinking on how to please Krishna.
Yes.
By doing some service or the other.
Yeah.
Or we are reading literature about Krishna or speaking about Krishna.
Yeah.
In this way, we are always remembering Krishna, and that is our natural conscious state.
Haribol.
So naturally, everything about Krishna is originally known to us all. And as soon as we begin to associate with the devotees of the Lord and chant his holy name, this memory gradually becomes stronger.
Very good.
As we remember our constitutional position of always serving Krishna in different ways. The first step, so you have noted, is that the dirty things which are clouding our spiritual senses must be cleansed by the Sankirtan process. So Krishna consciousness is a purifying process. If you follow the regulations of our society very strictly, you will quickly become completely purified and thus achieve the highest perfection of life, Krishna consciousness or love of Godhead. Hope this will meet you in good health. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami.
Can you print this letter?
Yes, Maharaj.
I'm going to put it on the wall somewhere.
Yes, Maharaj.
It's a very nice letter Prabhupada wrote to Stan. I wonder what happened to Stan. I hope he got initiated. But see how Prabhupada was so kind. He took the time to write such a nice letter to inspire Stan to continue in Krishna consciousness. There are over 3,000 letters that Prabhupada wrote. And our takeaway today from this verse and purport, chapter 8 and verse number 8, is one's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Mahamantra Hare Krishna. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration, that means, see, what really bothers me sometimes is when I see people silently chanting. It gives me like, I don't know, I don't feel good. I see the person moving his fingers, but I don't hear him chanting. So we should always chant out loud, at least enough that you can hear the chanting. In other words, the sound you make in your mouth goes around to your ear, right? So if someone is near you, they can also hear you, right? But if you chant silently, first of all, no one is going to be able to hear you. And secondly, you yourself may not be able to meditate really good on the holy name. So we should never do this silent meditation. We should always chant out loud the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra so that we can hear it and someone near us can hear it also. Of course, when you go on Sankirtan, you can chant as loud as you want so that many people hear it. That's even better. What does it say? Did you look something up? No?
No, I'm printing this.
What?
I'm trying to print the letter.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah. I like that letter.
Yes.
Very nice. Memory of Krishna is revived by chanting Maha Mantra. And that's the letter that was written to Stan in November 17, 1970. Memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And today's verse is Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena Chetasa Nanyagamina Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Partana Chintayan. He who meditates upon me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, O Arjuna, is sure to reach me. So, if you only know this one verse, your life will be perfect. One's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration. So there it is, right there. By practice of chanting and hearing. Therefore, the silent meditation is not recommended here. Prabhupada is explicitly saying, by this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. Well, that means that if we try and chant silently, we're not engaging the ear, the tongue, and the mind. So one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. So this should be the answer to those people who chant silent. Mm-hmm. They're making a mistake by doing that. And I know devotees that chant silently, and it makes me uncomfortable when I see that they're doing that. So it says, by practice of chanting and hearing. So in other words, you should chant loud enough that you can hear it, not silent. By practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. So, my dear devotees, this is our takeaway today. All of you who chant silently, don't do it anymore. Here it says, by this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. Okay, that means that we should engage the ear, the tongue, and the mind in the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This silent chanting is not recommended at all. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. There it is, right there. From now on, whenever you see someone chanting silently, you can read the 8th chapter, verse number 8, and in the purports. This practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. So we have to engage the ear, the tongue, and the mind. This mystic meditation is very easy to practice, and it helps one attain the Supreme Lord. Okay, so real chanting of the Hare Krishna Mantra engages the ear, that means hearing what you're saying, the tongue, which is making
Vibration.
the vibration, and the mind are engaged. If you chant silently, only the mind is engaged somewhat. But we're supposed to engage the ear, the tongue, and the mind. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
There it is. From now on, I mean, I see a lot of devotees that chant silently, and it always makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like it. No. But now we have the proof, and from now on, we will specifically show chapter 8, verse number 8, to understand what is the proper way to meditate on the mantra Hare Krishna. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. So those people who chant silently, they're not engaging the ear, they're not engaging the tongue. Maybe they're engaging the mind. So that's incomplete.
Incomplete chanting.
Yeah, incomplete chanting, exactly. Oh, I'm very happy we focused on this. I see devotees chanting silently a lot. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't feel comfortable hearing them. Not seeing them, just like that. Hardly even hear. They don't even make any noise. It's just silent. Silent chanting should be given up immediately, ladies and gentlemen. That's our takeaway today. If you are silently chanting the holy names of the Lord, and you count that as saying your mantra, your rounds, you're making a big mistake. Haribol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram.